Welcome to another Basement Collective. We are going to be your hosts today for this Genestealer Cult versus Dark Eldar battle report. Here's Mr. Aaron Green and your own lovely host, Davis, just in case none of you may remember. So we're going to go ahead right into this. We're going to start with the Genestealer Cult. We're going to be doing 1,500 points today. We're going to be having the Genestealer Cult Decurion, and it is composed of the two primary core ones, the Life Cycle, and you know what? I don't even know. This book is so new, I barely even read it. So get prepared for mistakes galore, folks. That is going to be a fun time. So yes, this is the Life Cycle version, which comes with the 5 Genestealers. These here are my ancient Sisters of Battle, which are going to end up being my, not the hybrids, but they're the new Metamorphs. We got some Aberrants. They are being led by Omegas today. We have 1, 2, 3 squads of Acolytes, and here's that squad of the Neophytes with their Chimera. Why Chimera for a unit that's more than 10 models? Because Genestealer Cults, why not today? We also have the other core formation, which is formed of 2 squads of Neophytes. Oh, by the way, this right here. Oh no, not those ones. These guys right here. They're my second unit of Neophytes for that core formation. Here we got 2 units of Neophytes with their Chimeras. This time they actually will fit within it. Here's that Scout Sentinel, which gets to use the Cult Ambush on his outflanking maneuver in that formation. And we've got a squadron of 2 Leman Russ tanks here. One of them may look like a Demolisher. I assure you today it is a regular Leman Russ battle tank. Both of them, one of them armed with the las cannon, the other with a heavy bolter as the Pierce, and there's another Scout Sentinel with the multi-laser. That's it for the Genestealer Cult. We'll be bringing you over now to Mr. Aaron Green and his Dark Eldar.
All right, and now we have here the Dark Eldar formation. What is it? Cabalite raiding party or some good stuff like that. Basically the same old purple guys that I bring to this channel every once in a while. We're going to start it off with our Archon and our nice fancy 3rd edition Incubi Warriors. Those 5 guys are going to be hanging out on the ground. In their newly, even more neutered than ever before, Splinter Cannon boats. We've got a couple of squads of 9 men of Cabalite Warriors in their Raiders, which are in the back there. Those Raiders are going to have the Splinter Rifle racks. They can't jink anymore because if they jink, the guys inside are snapshots only, which is a real tragedy. Next, just because, we've got a unit of 10 Blood Brides. Those are witches with an extra attack, which makes them awesome. We've also got, for another Elite's Choice, we've got 5 Cabalite Warrior Trueborn. They're going to have 4 blasters, and they're going to be blowing up those Leman Russ tanks and those Chimeras, because that's what they do. In the back we've got 2 units of Scourges. One is Naked. I like using them just because it's 15 splinter shots. Poison 4+. It's usually a good time shooting at monstrous creatures, which Davis used to play a lot of when he was playing as Tyranids. We've also got other Scourges. They've got 2 blasters, a Heat Lance, and a Haywire cannon. They're another anti-tank unit, anti-monstrous creature. They'll be great. We've got some more witches in the back here. This time these witches are going to be on Reaver jet bikes. A couple of them have got cluster caltrops, a couple of them have got heat lances. Hopefully for a change they will be able to hit hard. And then in the back we've got a Razor Wing jet fighter, a Void Raven bomber, and a Venom with the dual splinter cannon.
Alright, so we have completed deployment in this first, I guess you could almost say first turn of the mission. The mission that we're doing today is one that Aaron and I have decided to do for the Beer and Pretzels Open. That is, we had 5 objectives. One of them, right over here, is going to be right in the middle, and then we each got to deploy 2 others wherever we chose. Aaron decided to put one down over here, which I then put Chimera next to. And then he put one more in his deployment zone, while I put all of mine also in his deployment zone, or nearest enough to. in order to try to score lots and lots and lots of points. And I think you can see that one right inside there. Maybe it's too dark, maybe you can't. Hey, if I can capture ones that are in his deployment zone, they're worth a whole lot. He captures ones in his own deployment zone, they're not worth tons. So the Genestealer Cult came in, and as you can see, the entire game is now going to be played across a 2-foot by 6-foot long section. This is Warhammer 40k. Welcome to it. How do you like it?
Well, I'm a very, very fast army, and I got surprised.
Surprise!
We're playing in a city, and apparently they were Genestealers and cultists in all of these little bits on the road, all the sewers and manholes and stuff. Because they went, surprise, I'm in your deployment zone. I didn't have to do anything except for roll dice to get there.
Yeah, and now, as you folks may actually notice right now, I'm looking at this guy here, the cool patriarch. However, he's not a patriarch today. Today, he is actually going to be the flag bearer for the team. So yeah, the Genestealers came in. We had lots of outflanks on this side. We had one outflank on that side. Excuse me. And then we had a whole mess of units come in and get 5s, not 6, not a whole lot. So got 2 6s. This unit here, each got a 6. And actually, I'm just noticing these guys are deployed incorrectly. They have to be outside of 3 inches, so we'll get back to that in a moment. But yeah, a lot of 5s. These guys over here got 5s, and they threw a grenade, and they were able to kill one of these. Over here, these guys got a 5, and they shot into the scourges here ineffectively. But then over here, the big group, they came in, and a whole bunch of firepower into the Archon and the Incubi, and there we go.
Gonzo.
Gonzo. That is the first time, I have to say, the first time I've ever seen somebody able to score Slay the Warlord during deployment. The first turn of the game has not even happened yet. That Archon, he just ate a mining laser out of nowhere.
That's how she goes when you play with the Shadow Fields.
Yeah.
Sometimes you roll a 2 or higher, and sometimes you roll a 1, and it's going to be instant death.
That's it. Instant deaths against snap firing mining lasers. You know, don't mess with the Genestealer Cult, apparently.
Surprise!
Surprise! Funny, hilarious. No, but we're going to be able to see, because I mean, obviously, although the Genestealers out here, we're going to go to the first turn very shortly. If the Genestealers can't do a whole lot, the tables are going to turn swiftly. So we'll be back at the end of Genestealer Cult turn 1. And welcome back. We are done. Genestealer Cult turn 1. So we had these guys. They were pretty ineffectual trying to blast out this thing. Did not do too well, but did cause it to jink, so that was pretty good. Over here, we caused 2 hull points of damage from that Chimera way back over there. The Scourges over here were shot at a bunch well, not a bunch. They were shot by a few things. No, those guys didn't do anything either. Why am I even looking at them? But these guys over here, they shot at the Scourges, didn't hurt them there, did charge them in close combat, suffered no casualties of any kind, and the Aberrants just absolutely ripped through them. Those guys are a lot tougher than their bare chests would lend you to believe.
They're very burly. Very, very burly.
Very burly indeed. Over here, the Metamorphs did lose 1 Metamorph to the Overwatch against the Bikes. A few other things, threw some grenades and shot pistols all around this area. Didn't manage to actually hurt anything. But when we charged in against the Bikes, they weren't able to hurt these guys. These guys were really high weapon skill. With that Metamorph Scythe,
yeah,
brought them up to weapon skill 5, which put them up higher than their opponents. And then when nothing really got through, in return, they just countered with all kinds of death and destruction. So those Bikes didn't entirely get killed. They were reduced down to 3 models, and they fled off the table.
Ran. Yeah.
As does tend to happen with Bikes. So I mean, not a bad turn for the Genestealer Cult. However, as you can see, lots of stuff is out in the open. Right now, there's a lot of target saturation going on, and this is still just turn 1. We're going on now to Dark Eldar turn 1. When we return, Mr. Aaron Green and the Dark Eldar will be giving us the recap.
So here we are at the bottom of turn 1. We've just finished it up. The Dark Eldar have had their turn, and immediately I thought to myself, there's no point in running away from this situation. The reason is, as soon as I do that, Davis is just going to pull all of his models on his turn and redeploy afterwards, rolling on his wicked table. He's still got a bunch of reserves to come in afterwards in the way of these guard over here. Those are also going to be outflanking and being awesome, so I figured I might as well just stand and shoot. And I thought, well, if I'm just shooting at guardsmen, my splinter boats are going to be doing awesome. Let's see how that turned out. This splinter boat here with 9 guys inside shot with their twin linking, and they killed 3 cultists. Awesome. Afterwards, I did charge in with an incubi. There were 3. One of them was lost in Overwatch, one of them was lost in combat, and they're stuck in. That squad has been cut in about half. The witches, blood brides in fact, they did jump out of the orange raider, and they charged in over here. This is also stuck in. I did manage to kill a base of those aberrants, or whatever they're called there. They're wicked. And I lost a handful of blood brides in return. The 4+ dodge did turn out to be awesome. This raider here. What? We're going to the red raider first, which shot up, killed the las cannon, killed a couple of other guardsmen that were sitting up there. I believe they did go to ground. Maybe not. The splinter boat, or the blaster boat that was in there, the Venom, which had 1 weapon destroyed and only 1 hull point left, it caught one of its spiky blades, got it stuck in there, and the guys had to climb out as the Venom got the smoke of shame. Tragic. Scourges abandoned their post over here. There were a couple of Genestealer something or others. They were shot, they were assaulted. The Scourges, Acolyte hybrids. They were killed by these Scourges. That was pretty much the high point. We'll be back after Davis and the Genestealers turn 2.
Alright, we have just completed Genestealer Cult turn 2. We had a lot of the cult guys disappear. I'll just come on over here. We had these guys disappear. Those guys went back to the shadows over here. Those guys went back to the shadows. Stuff over here is unfortunately just dead, but that is a-okay because stuff that comes back will come back reinforced. We did have that other formation come in, the Neophyte collective dudes and all their tanks. A lot of outflanking action. These guys drove down the alley, came on out from the side, finding all these Dark Eldar around here. Over here, we had a Sentinel pop out from nowhere, go surprise, shoot at, and then assault those Scourges, while this other Chimera come out from here. The other guys disappeared from here. Those guys disappeared from up on top, so they'll be coming back out in the future. Not a whole lot happened in the shooting phase, except, of course, the Lehman Russes going... Technically speaking, this was actually taken out by that Chimera down over there. And then just explosions all around, as Lehman Russes are wont to do. Then we went over to close combat. In close combat, this guy by himself, there wasn't a whole lot he could do. Attacks were surrounding around him until just a whirlwind of flurry and...
Gone.
Yes, despite only losing, I think, 1 or 2 guys.
1 or 2 guys.
I think it was 1 guy. They didn't kill him in return, and they failed their leadership and ran. So they are just dead. Over here, we had the Witches continue this fight against the Aberrants. Unfortunately, they were only able to put through a single wound on an Aberrant and suffered 1 wound in return. So a tied combat over there. And then back over to here, the Scourge got swarmed by Genestealers and Sentinel, and it's gone too. So that is it for Genestealer turn 2. We'll be back at the end of not Space Marine. Oh my god.
There are a lot of Space Marines in Warhammer 40k days.
Yeah.
There are none today.
Dark Eldar turn 2.
Alright, at the bottom of turn 2, there's not much purple left. The raider that was here said, screw this place. And he flatted out across the board. The idea, honestly, is so when Davis goes after it and checks it out, this Razor Wing is gonna turn that way and drop 4 strength 6 missiles on them and hopefully blow up a whole bunch of dudes. But, well, I just played my hand. Aside from that, when the Razor Wing did come in, it did manage to inflict 1 glancing hit against that Lehman Russ. The Incubi that was in the middle here, he embarked in the orange sailed transport. He's got it all to himself, and he's going to be free to assault on the next turn, provided he's still there. These warriors here are still pinned. When the bomber did come in, it dropped a bomb on a Chimera, stunned it, carried on, shot its missiles at the Sentinel that was down there with the Genestealers, and finally I had some good success with this bomber. Don't bother with the Void Raven bomber, folks. It is a centerpiece model, and it should stay in the display shelf.
Except when it kills stuff.
Well, yeah, that happens sometimes. The Blaster Trueborn were just outside of range because the bomber did so well in blowing everything up. Down below, finally, my luck ran out with my dodge saves, and I ate a whole bunch of hammers from these big, beefy, burly dudes here. So those guys are loose. So on Davis's turn, I hope he's going to concede by pulling his entire army off the table because they have their Genestealer awesomeness, but we will find out at the top of turn 3.
All right, we are now into, we're about to go into Dark Eldar. Turn 4?
Turn 3?
Turn 3. All right, so the Dark Eldar didn't suffer too much on this turn. The Flyer did eat some multi-laser fire and was brought down to 1 hull point after passing an immobilized check, so he didn't crash. Over here, the Brothers Aberrant squad, along with the Magus and everybody, they were able to take out 4 of those guys. The last one ran away. Hopefully will continue running away. We had people come in from Cult ambush, lots of outflanking. Those guys up over there, they appeared and were able to shoot twice, knocking that raider down to 1 hull point. So we will see. We did have, I believe, 1 squad go back into Cult reserves. Can't really quite remember for sure. But then we're going to just see. Maybe the Dark Eldar will be able to turn this around, maybe not. We'll be back to you at the end of Dark Eldar turn 3.
And we are done. The end of Dark Eldar turn 3 and the end of this game. Partly because we're calling time and partly because we're calling shenanigans. Dark Eldar, Red Sailboat, and the Razorwing Jet Fighter, like I said, took a shot at the dudes inside this bunker. Not bunker, ruined building, and nuked several of them. The Bright Lance, Dark Lance at the front of the Red Sail did nothing. Incubi did manage to charge into the boss squad, and while he made it there, nobody died. So I'm calling moral victory for that Incubi getting 2 feet away from where he started and killing a squad and surviving. Aside from that, this Void Raven bomber flew, shot, did nothing. Very good show. And that's the end for now, folks. I would say that the Genestealer Cult actually played pretty good, and as the game moved on and they disappeared, they did seem a little bit more manageable, but man oh man, even with toughness 3, when they can start and be right on top of you right away, they can take good advantage of that for sure.
Even guardsmen can be dangerous in the right spots.
All right, thank you very much, folks. Thanks for your patience watching this, and
thanks for watching the Basement Collective, folks.
Thanks for watching the Basement Collective, and keep on wargaming, as they say.